Am I the a-hole for going against my husband's wishes when naming my daughter? My husband and I were expecting our first child, a girl. A few years ago, he lost his mom. Now, I loved his mom, but she had a very grandma sounding name. Think Mildred or Ethel. My husband suggested we name our daughter that. I said while I got the sentimental value, I didn't like it for our daughter's name. I suggested it as a middle name as a compromise, and he said no, it should be her first name. I said no, names should have a 2 yes, 1 no rule. But I was more than happy to give her the name as a middle. Conversations about names became a fight for months. He'd veto any name I picked, classic, modern, a nickname of his mom's name, but still not the full one. It wasn't what he wanted. I give birth and he's there. All is calm and we are thrilled. He says something about naming her after his mom again, and I just don't answer. Instead, later when asked, I said it was Lily, his mom's name as a middle. He needed to sign off on it, and got pissed when he saw what I did. I told him that I wouldn't sign off on his mom's name, being the baby's first name, and that I gave him ample time to help me pick something else. He reluctantly signed it, and us call her Lily. However, he does still, 6 months later, says I bullied him into naming our daughter something he didn't want. I asked how it wasn't different than what he tried to do to me when I was freshly hormonal and had just given birth. Who is the a-hole here? Everyone's the a-hole, but I'm on your side. You gave birth and he wasn't budging from his name choice. It was a matter of who got to the documentation first, and it happened to be you. Would he have still put his mother's name down if the roles were reversed? Yeah, probably. You won. And so did he. His mother's name is still there as a tribute. My daughter has her own first name, but her middle name is a family name, so sometimes my husband will affectionately call her first name, plus middle name. Maybe if one of you says hey there, Lily Ethel, it might reduce the sting or normalize it a bit. Good luck. I hope this improves. My question is, if this is everyone's the a-hole, what could OP have done to not be the asshole? I can somewhat understand the judgment, but it sounds like OP tried to talk to her husband, tried to suggest a variety of names, and the husband refused to engage. At that point, what are her options? Maybe she could be nicer about it, or tried to have one last conversation about his stubbornness, but that's not a reasonable expectation from someone who just gave birth. Husband had months to accept that he wasn't getting his way and engage with choosing a new name. OP doesn't have to do the emotional labor of helping him accept this while she's exhausted and in pain. Not the a-hole from me. Husband shouldn't have shot down all of OP's attempts at compromise, and if he truly hadn't liked the name Lily, then he cold vetoed it and started a genuine discussion about names that they both like. Human beings are not created in memory of dead loved ones, and they should not be named solely in memoriam either. If they both liked the name and wanted to bestow the late grandmother's name on their daughter, that's very sweet. But if one or both of them don't like the name itself, not the person the name reminds you of, then you shouldn't give another human being that name. Besides, naming a baby after a beloved deceased loved one is a lot of pressure. Imagine growing up feeling like you're a replacement for your dad's dead mom that you never met, and that the only reason for your name is to memorialize your dead grandma, plus the fact that your mom doesn't even like your name, because you know that will get out eventually. Hi, I'm the daughter here. Not really, but the same thing happened when I was born about a year after my grandma died. Opted the best she could with what she was given. The middle name is a 100% fair solution. First of all, it's not fair to tie such a strong part of someone's identity to a person in which they will never meet. I'm incredibly happy to carry on my grandma's name as a middle name. I'm not her. I wasn't put here to replace her. A child is not responsible for helping you to grieve your loved one, nor are they responsible for carrying on the memory of someone who they never met. Secondly, Holy shiz T, don't name your kid Mildred or ESTHER in 20.20. Kids are cruel. Elementary through middle school would be absolutely brutal for someone with a name from the 1920s. Not the a-hole. Your husband was completely unreasonable. Wanting to honor your late mother is not a good enough reason to bully and manipulate your wife into agreeing with you. It might be a nice thought, but old-fashioned names are often a reason to get teased these days, and kids don't need yet another thing to potentially get teased about. You were exceedingly patient and attempted to compromise in every way possible, and he refused to even consider anything other than his mother's name. That is not reasonable or okay. On a personal note, my father wanted what eventually became my first name, and my mum wanted what eventually became my middle name. He basically did what your husband did, but succeeded in forcing my mum into accepting my first name at birth. By age 12 I was going by my middle name, and then I changed it legally because I hated my birth name so much. In saying that, there's a possibility your daughter will actually like her middle name when she grows up, and there's always a chance she can change it herself if she so chooses. Not the a-hole. As someone named after my grandma, it sucks having everyone assume I'm 60 years older than I am, especially since I have a double whammy of my other grandma's name as my middle name. If you Google women with my first and middle name, you pretty much just get a bits. I even had someone at an airline mock me and accuse me of flying under my mom's frequent flyer number when I was 27, which was way after 9.11 and most of the TSA regulations. I got upgraded to first class and she saw me and didn't want to give me the boarding pass because she didn't believe it was my name. We don't have to show ID in my state to vote, and the old ladies always give me a couple looks when I go to vote. It sucks. My first name has even come back in style, but it's very rare for people my age to have my name. You still kept the name alive as a middle name, but hopefully kids will not be cruel to her because of her first name. I could never find mugs or stickers with my name on it when I was a kid. I thought about changing my name, but when it's your grandma's name it felt like it would be a slap in the face to my family to change it, especially since the grandma for my first name was still alive until I was in my mid-20s. My husband and I are trying to have a kid. My grandpa had a pretty unique first name which would match well with our common last name, but I would put it as a middle name. Not the a-hole. He had 9 months to compromise. That being said, he needs to get behind her name now. She can't grow up knowing he doesn't like her name. I'm the product of a similar situation. Both parents wanted to name me after their mother. To compromise, they picked random names. I have a very disjointed name with the masculine spelling of a gender-neutral name. I'm female, and a biz a middle name. Think Aaron Millicent. I always thought my name was weird, but my mother admitted, when I was a kid, that neither of them liked my name. I've been really bothered by it ever since. You're the a-hole. For giving your daughter the name Lily. That's not even a word, it's baby language with a Y, thrown in to make it special, and so popular right now. It will be the butt of jokes in years to come. Get a grip on yourself. The nickname of Mildred would be Millie, Ethel would be Etty, and unless your husband's grandma was an elder god like Cthulhu, I think it would have been safe to name her that. Everyone's the a-hole, though I think your husband is definitely the bigger a-hole of the two. Your 2 yes, 1 no rule seems like a good system for naming a baby. The problem is that the two of you proved incapable of solving this problem as a team. That is not a good indicator of your future raising this child together. The fact that you literally gave birth without having resolved this issue seems crazy to me. From the details you provided, it seems like your husband was stonewalling in the hope that you would cave and go with his mother's name, which is a right move on his part. But the most important thing you both need to take away from this is that something has to change, or you are going to replay this scenario every single time you have a parenting disagreement, which will probably be often. For your daughter's sake, I hope you can find a way to do that, whether together or separated. Your lives are no longer about the two of you, or getting what you want. They're about doing what's right for your kid. My son went unnamed for 10 days following a stalemate on compromising on his name. My then husband had agreed all the way through the pregnancy that we would not be naming our son after his father, which was their tradition, as it would have been similar to naming your kid Roger Rogers. As an example, I asked him regularly if he had warned his father about this, as I didn't want drama if it wasn't broached early. After son was born, he balked and said he couldn't disappoint his father that way, and to make matters worse, his father then waded in and added his opinion. It got to the point the nurses actually threatened to ban him from visiting us, as he was arguing the whole time with me as to why I should essentially do as I was told. In the end he gave up because I wasn't shifting. I'd had a lonely pregnancy, isolated from family, and he wasn't one to try to be involved with the whole experience. So I was still hurt and angry with him, and made it very clear I was prepared to move out back with my mother and give son my surname only as well. I've been there, not the a-hole. Thanks for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe for more videos. See y'all later.